right, sixth graders, let's go ahead now and go through the remainder of worksheet 23. So you should have this done and pull out maybe a different color pen or something like that so that you can show yourself both what you had right the first time and what maybe needed a little bit of correction. Now, number 3 is a very interesting sentence, right, because of the question mark. And that means that we probably have inverted words at the beginning, words that were put into the spin cycle, okay? If this were a regular sentence that made a statement, it would be, he is in the office today, right? But here, since it's a question, it's, is he in the office today? So we don't want to let that confuse us. The verb then is actually first, is. It is a linking verb. Who or what is? He is. Subject, that's not a noun, it's a pronoun, so it's a subject pronoun. Now, in the office then, you see in is a preposition, the is the article adjective, office is a noun, the object of the preposition, so that is where the prepositional phrase ends, okay? This is actually answering a further question about his being, where he is, his existence. He exists, he is present, where? In the office. So it's answering the where question about our verb. Therefore, it is adverbial. Now, today was left out of this. Hopefully you didn't put this parenthesis over here. Today then is all by itself, okay? It is then an adverb, right? We've said many times in class that a word like today is more than one part of speech in the dictionary. If we look up in the dictionary, we will see a noun, we will see an adverb, different things like that. But it's only one kind in the sentence. And in this sentence, as we analyze it and organize it, we can see that today is showing us time. It is modifying this word is for time. So place, that is what in the office is showing us. Today is showing us time for where he is that way. Now, Miss Nijinsky is kind of a unique one here, or a funny one here, right? It's that noun of direct address. I'll also go ahead and put VOC period, vocative. Some of you are learning this quite well in your Latin, right? Voco, vocare, vocavi, vocatus means to call. And I've been giving you that word, including it a little bit there, because actually for many, many years, really for all time, frankly, English handbooks and grammar books have used vocative for this name. Noun of direct address is what Winston grammar uses. It's a little bit more logical, a little bit more updated. It uses words that we use every day. And yet if you went to look this up in an English handbook or something somewhere in a library, you would see vocative. So that is what the function of this noun, Miss Nijinsky, is. Now, number 4, Mr. Goldberg took the baseball team to Yankee Stadium for the game with the Detroit Lions. Kind of an interesting one for me there, my 2 favorite baseball teams, all right? Although interesting for us too, because no one's going to baseball games right now, unfortunately. The verb is took. Took. Who or what took? Mr. Goldberg took. Mr. Goldberg is the subject. Not a pronoun, that's a noun. In fact, it's a proper noun as well. So Mr. Goldberg took what? Mr. Goldberg took team. That is a noun, that is the direct object. What kind of team? Any word that answers the what kind of question and modifies a noun is an adjective, and there's the article adjective, okay? Remember, I'm not drawing the arrows on the article adjective just to keep it a little simpler with the appearance on these videos. To Yankee Stadium for the game with the Detroit Lions. Wow, I mean, look at that. Here is a preposition to, then a noun, Yankee Stadium, preposition for, then a noun, game, preposition with, then a noun, Detroit Tigers. So 3 prepositional phrases here. So, to Yankee Stadium, object of the preposition for Yankee Stadium, that's a proper name, that's a place. Where did he take? That is the question it answers. It answers a question about the verb, the taking. It is adverbial then. All right, for the game. Once again, it's answering a question about the taking. Why did he take, or for what purpose did he do this taking? Well, probably a special event for the baseball team. Obviously, a baseball team might be interested in watching a Major League Baseball game. Now, with the Detroit Tigers. Now, this one technically could modify took, but probably doesn't. And here's the point, actually. A native English speaker would I would say, even you and so forth, we all kind of know this actually goes to game. So if we say that it modifies took, it means that Mr. Goldberg with the Detroit Tigers took the baseball team. Like that he managed to get all the Detroit Tigers to come on a big bus, and then they showed up and they surprised the baseball team, and together with the Detroit Tigers, he took them. It could actually mean that, but we all kind of know as native English speakers who could say this sentence or hear this sentence, it means actually that it is a game with the Detroit Tigers. The game is a Detroit Tigers game. The Detroit Tigers are the visiting team to Yankee Stadium to play against them, do you see? So, though it technically could go to took and game, game is the one that really any native English speaker would think. He wasn't with the Detroit Tigers taking the baseball team. It's that he took the baseball team to the game with the Detroit Tigers where the Detroit Tigers are playing. That makes this adjectival, because it's modifying a noun, the object of the preposition, inside this particular prepositional phrase right here. So now we come down to 5 and 6. If you need, this is a good point to pause it if you want to look at 3 and 4. The door won't open, I can't get outside. Notice this guy right here, semicolon. A semicolon has an independent clause on each side of it, the left and the right. Remember, a phrase is a group of related words. A clause is a group of related words with a subject and a verb. A sentence is a group of related words with a subject and a verb. That expresses a complete thought. So it's not going to be a complete thought until we get to the period, but it is a group of related words with a subject and a verb over here and over here. So what's our first verb? Our first verb is will open. Of course, will is a helping verb, and it's down inside the contraction. Open is the main verb. Not is an adverb. We say the strongest adverb because it completely flips over the meaning, right? Not that it will open, it will not open. Who or what won't open? Door. Subject, noun. The door won't open. There's the article adjective. Really straightforward there. Now we have to do the same thing since we have two clauses. Can get. And then, of course, the adverb, cannot get. So there's our helping verb. There's our main verb. Who or what can't get? Subject pronoun, I can't get. I can't get where? I can't get outside. So do you see how outside is answering the where question about the verb? If it answers a question about the verb like that, about where, it is an adverb. It's modifying the verb. Okay. The big shaggy collie produced 10 pups. What's the verb? Produced. Who or what produced? Collie produced. Collie is a noun, not a pronoun, so it's a subject noun. Now notice what's happening here. What kind of collie? A shaggy collie. What kind of collie? A big collie. These are adjectives for collie. Both of them are. Okay. The collie produced what? The collie produced pups. Pups is a noun. It's the direct object. How many is answered about pups by the word 10, which makes it an adjective. So now would be a good time to pause it on 5 and 6 if you need to take a closer look. And we'll flip it over and take a look now at the last of the sentences here. I actually will only go through number 10, and you will only be required to go through number 10. George Washington Carver found many uses for peanut shells. Okay, George Washington Carver, a full name right there, a proper name. Found is the verb. Who or what found is George Washington Carver found. That is a subject noun. Proper name means that we just single underline that whole thing. George Washington Carver found what? He found uses. Uses for peanut shells. So uses is a noun. It's the direct object. And for peanut shells, here is a prepositional phrase. The OP is shells. What kind of shells? Not seashells or something. Peanut shells. So that is an adjective for it as well. Notice how many uses. That is what's being answered by many, so that's an adjective as well. Now, this needs to be adjectival or adverbial, and it has to do, it seems in this case, with these uses. It's actually not a finding for the shells, it's a finding of uses. They are uses for peanut shells. What kind of uses? They are uses that involve old peanut shells that would be thrown away. Since that is a noun, that makes this adjectival because it's modifying a noun. Grandmother volunteers at the new community hospital. Kind of an appropriate sentence in some ways for what we're dealing with now in terms of volunteering at a hospital. So volunteers is a verb. Who or what volunteers? Subject noun. It's grandmother who volunteers at the new community hospital. Notice this prepositional phrase is quite larger than normal. That's because hospital is a noun, the OP. Community shows us what kind of hospital it is. It's not a regional hospital or something like that, a real big one. And it's not an old one, it's a new one. So these are both adjectival, and there's our article adjective and there's our preposition. That whole thing then answers a question about volunteers. Where does she volunteer? Where is this happening? And so that is adverbial because it's answering that question and modifying there about the verb. Now, riverboat rides don't make me ill. Okay, so do make. Okay, make is the main verb here. Do comes in actually as a helping verb, in part because we're using not, the adverb there, to flip it all over. Riverboat rides do make me ill. Riverboat rides do not make me ill. So what does not make me ill? Rides don't. What kind of rides? Riverboat rides. Okay, so that is an adjective to clarify what kind of rides we're talking about in the subject noun. Now, riverboat rides don't make me ill. Now, what's interesting here, and I'm not quite sure why Winston Grammar did this to you, so sorry, it was a bit of a tricky one. This is what's known as an elliptical. There are words implied by the context that a native English speaker knows, but they're not always written or included this way. Riverboat rides don't make me to be ill, technically, is what's going on right here. So, me to be ill would actually be, in that sense, an infinitive phrase. I know that's kind of strange, and that's something you've not really seen before, so that one wasn't fair to you in terms of what Winston Grammar gave, I guess. I wouldn't give you one like that on a quiz or a test. But actually, this whole infinitive phrase then functions as the direct object. Okay, so you probably had something like that. Probably a lot of you put me as a direct object or something along those lines, and you were definitely thinking about the right thing there. Okay, so after the boat trip, we will walk to the center of town. After the boat trip, now this one's a little unique as well because it's bringing in, this is what's known as a subordinating conjunction. Okay, but after the boat trip here is showing us, it is a subordinating conjunction usually in context like this. It is being used here, though, merely as a preposition for time. I got ahead of myself there, I apologize. So we could say something like after we took the boat trip, and that would be a subordinating conjunction. Here we're looking at a normal preposition for time. Here's the object of the preposition. What kind of trip? It was not a car trip, it was a boat trip, that kind of thing. Now, will walk is the verb. Will is a helping verb showing future time. Walk is our main verb. Who or what will walk? We will walk. We is not a noun, it's a pronoun, so it's a subject pronoun. Here's our helping verb and main verb. We will walk. Where will we walk? To the center. Okay, so you see the preposition, article, adjective, object of the preposition. It answered where we will walk, so the whole thing is adverbial. It's the center of what? What kind of center? It's a town center. So this one is adjectival. Excuse me, I should have made that arrow all the way to center. Modifying center. So preposition for of, object preposition for town, it's adjectival modifying center. Remember what I told you actually is that most prepositional phrases, in fact, are adverbial prepositional phrases. But out of the adjectival prepositional phrases, most of them begin with the preposition of. So here we have a classic of beginning a adjectival prepositional phrase. So after the boat trip then becomes a preposition here at the beginning that modifies when we will walk. This future time when we're walking will be after the boat trip. So that is adverbial showing us the time when. Well, good job today. Here I'll go ahead and put it now on 7, 8, 9, and 10 in case you want to pause it and look more closely at that. And I just want to wish you well and pray that this is a good and useful way to make sure that you're understanding these concepts and having some success on these worksheets. Take care.